Hey guys, it's Tiny and welcome to our midweek devotional here. And I got a few words of encouragement to us. Over the break while the kids were out of school, I had the great opportunity to spend some time with my buddy Sean. Sean is awesome. We have fun. And Sean is actually my lamb, or actually my daughter's lamb, that she's raising for FFA, and I've been able to go and help feed it in the mornings and the evenings and really spend some time with it. And it's been fun. I like to get it out. We walk along the pathway there, and we run and like to jump. And so imagine a field of daisies and me and a lamb following and running and jumping and all having all kinds of fun and laughing, and Sean laughing as well, of course, because we're having a ton of fun. It's almost like that, but maybe not really. Because sometimes Sean just doesn't want to do those things. Sometimes Sean can be a little stubborn, and especially at first. She didn't really know me, and she was very stubborn until she knew that I was the feeding guy. She knew if she saw me, she was going to get fed. And so a connection started to be built. And in fact, now when I walk in the ag barn, I walk around the corner, I say, "Sean!" And immediately, this lamb just jumps up and starts watching to see who's coming down the aisle. And as I get to the gate, she leans in, she gets a hug from me. It's kind of a fun experience having that there. And then I tell my wife, I know this happened. The other day I said bye to Sean and she went bye. And so I took that as bye. And so Sean and I have a great connection. And we've been able to spend some time. It's just been fun to watch that. But you know what is allowed to come to life is a passage in the Bible in John chapter 10, verses 1 through 5. And Jesus is talking and says, "Truly I tell you, anyone who doesn't enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in another way is a thief and a robber. The one who enters the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens it for him, and the sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he's brought them all out, he goes ahead of them. The sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will never follow a stranger. Instead, they run away from him because they don't know the voice of strangers." Now, I know the stranger part because I've tried to help others catch their lambs, and that is just not possible because I can call it and it's not going to listen in. But when I call Sean, she listens. And when I walk, she's walking behind me. She's never trying to get in front of me, and unless she's wanting to get into something or dig into somebody else's business and not really following after where I'm leading her. And so it's been interesting to watch that and watch this passage come alive in Sean. Now, many times we do act like Sean, and we don't want to hear that. It's just we act like we're sheep sometimes too. And sometimes we feel a little stubborn and we forget about who God is and what he's done for us. And we want to go our own way. We want to dig into our own things. We want to follow our own paths. And sometimes we have to get those little reminders. Some days I think God says the name Tiny far more than he says anything else all day long because he's trying to redirect me so much. Or sometimes we may even follow something totally different, like a stranger, contrary to what a sheep would do. And we need to be reined back in and focus on God and what he has for us. None of us want to be associated with stubborn sheep, but sometimes it's quite fitting to our relationship. We want to follow after the Lord and the good shepherd. And we want to hear that voice and follow and just be the obedient sheep that we need to be. But even in the Bible, it talks about how, we do have a sheep that goes astray. And what does God do? He goes and finds it and brings it back into the fold. As 2023 begins, where are you? Where are you in your spiritual life? Are you following and growing in your faith? That's awesome. I really hope you are. Or do you need to be redirected? And that's a great time to step in and start doing that. Have we followed other things contrary to God? Or have we delved into other things that pull us away from being with him and worshiping, or even being at church on Sunday morning and being together as a church? Or do we need to refocus? What are we doing daily? Are we spending time in the Word daily and with him? Even in our leaders in training, we have daily devotions that we give the kids. I'd be more than happy to send one to you if that helps. Every step, every part of growth starts with just one spot, one step, one getting out there and doing that one thing to grow into what we want it to be and grow our faith. wherever you stand, it's a new start. It's a new chance to get out there and really dive in and make sure that you're following after God. So that way when you look back in December of 2023, you can see how far you've come in your faith and while following after God. We do it as we teach that to our children and make sure our children grow in their faith. As adults, we need to do the same thing. We're not there yet. We don't know everything yet, but God knows, and God has great plans for us this year. In my daily devotions, I'm reading some daily devotions by A.W. Tozer, some writings from him put together. And day one, the very first thing under the Bible verse that started the day, it said, "For the Christian, everything begins and ends with worship." And the last quote of that day says, "Every day is a special call for all of us to worship God." As we spend our time, as we look to grow after God, are we truly worshiping Him with our days? Are we spending that time worshiping Him? Are we looking toward Him as the leader, as the shepherd, as our master, and following after Him? And true worship. Worship isn't just something we do on Sunday morning. It's something we do every single day. As you wake up in the morning, you're called to worship Him. Are we doing that? As we look ahead, let's do that. Let's work on that. Let's make a conscious commitment of worshiping Him each day of 2023. It's going to be great. I'm thankful for all of you, and I'm super excited about where your growth goes, where my growth goes, and where we grow as a church in this next year. Hope you have an awesome rest of the week, and we'll see you soon.